Great. Well, thank you all so much for joining me today. As I said, my name is Christine Penny, and I'm the Training and Author Support Manager at Cambridge University Press. I do work with authors and librarians very, very often across the world. Today, I'm speaking with, I don't even want to call them three major regions of the world because so many are lumped in together for the sake of time zone. But we want to make sure that everybody feels good about your new transformative agreement and you feel okay with how to manage it. So that's what this session is for today. As I said, this session is geared toward librarians and administrators of transformative agreements. If you are an author who has found your way here, that's fine. This will not have a lot of information for you, but you might learn a little bit about the scenes, about how things go for librarians when you are seeking to publish. So today, I really want to briefly go over open access and what transformative agreements are. I have a feeling that you are all fully aware of what that is, but just to make sure we're all on the same page, I'm going to cover that together. And then I'm going to move into managing your transformative agreement on the RightsLink platform through Cambridge University Press. The Copyright Clearance Center is the our outside business that we work with to manage the rights and the privacy of all of the work of all of the journals work that we publish, which is expressly what we're going to be talking about today. I'm talking especially about journals. And I'm going to be able to show you a bit of a demo, which again, hopefully is not especially complicated because it's not supposed to be. And then after that, I'm going to briefly talk about how to promote and support your transformative agreement at your institution. So often I find that sometimes authors don't know that this exists or that you have made this deal. And it's really important that you share with your people at your institution that this is available to them, essentially to publish for free on their behalf. Now, you as a librarian know that that's not entirely how it works, but for the sake of the author, that is, which is a really exciting and fantastic opportunity for them, and hopefully is something that you can stand behind as a librarian or administrator. Okay, so this, of course, is who we are. Everything that we publish at Cambridge is founded on our, I don't even want to call it tradition, but on our values of integrity and ethics. Everything we publish is of really, really high quality. We are not interested in publishing things that are of a weaker level or some regurgitated idea that is, I don't know, maybe it has or has not come through AI. Regardless, we are here to publish the best work possible. And we're a university press that is part of the scholarly community, and we're really seeking to further the scholarly community with the ideas that we publish. We currently publish more than 450 peer-reviewed academic journals in all of the subject areas. So if you are wondering if we publish it, we probably do. Obviously, some are going to be a little bit more thorough than others. Some of our subject areas are very, very strong, and others we have not put a special focus on. But regardless, we're very keen to be a part of the space, both in the humanities and the sciences. Of our 450 journals, over 60% of them are published in partnership with academic societies and institutions. If I have the opportunity, I will show you the portion on Cambridge Core where we see partnerships available, and you can kind of see if there's alignment there, perhaps with something that your institution is connected with. But ultimately, the point that I want to make right now is that over 50% of our journals publish under an open access model. We are working very, very hard to actually make all of our journals into open access by 2030. We firmly believe that this is the way it should be, that this is the way it should go, that our work should be available, visible, to be read by anyone in the world for the sake of betterment and growth. So, what is open access? Again, just to make sure we're all on the same page, and I'm assuming that you likely are at this stage of the game if you're here with me today. Publishing open access means that it is a model that makes content available to readers at no cost, which is essentially that cost is covered by the agreement that you have made with us. And how is that done? That is done through a transformative agreement. We are functioning right now under the impression for this meeting that you have a transformative agreement with Cambridge University Press, which means that we publish content that comes through your authors for free as a result of your payment to gain access to our content. But those works, should we choose to publish them in our journals, must be published as open access, which authors have the choice to do or not to do. They just need to be able to choose that the journal that they are publishing in is open access and that their content is published open access. I'm not going to say any more about that. If you have further questions, feel free to be in touch with me or any of your salespeople that you have connected with. So again, we're functioning right now under the assumption that your institution has a transformative agreement with Cambridge University Press. Okay, so this is our primary delivery system, if you will. This is our hub, our library of all of our online content, and that is called Cambridge Core. If I have the opportunity, I might show you a little bit as a bit of an overview, a bit of a reminder about how Cambridge Core works, along with how to log in, but I'm not going to do a heavy, weighty element on that just yet. But Cambridge Core is the location of where all of our journals are. This is, the location where your authors would go to look up journals that would be the right thing for them. Now, just to verify what journals you have available to you under your transformative agreement, I would recommend that you go to the eligibility checker. This is a tool I actually often suggest for authors to use to sort out whether or not their subject area journals are covered under the transformative agreement by your institution. Very simply, you would go here, you would enter your territory, and then find your organization, assuming that it has been loaded, unless you just bought your transformative agreement yesterday. But at this point, it should be loaded onto Cambridge Core and attached. So let's get to the meat of this. What I'd like to do for you right now, we're going to talk a little bit about RightsLink and what this looks like for you as a librarian once an author has submitted their work to a journal and that work has been accepted. Essentially, what you need to know is what to do when that work has been accepted, and now it's up to the library to essentially pay, I use air quotes, pay for the article processing charge that is necessary to publish every single article that comes through our journals. So, if we're talking about the publishing workflow, and I'm kind of repeating what I've just said, I have broken this down into 3 parts. We've got the manuscript preparation done by the author. Maybe you're involved in that. I don't know. Maybe you've helped them, which is a fantastic thing. And then from there, they would submit their manuscript to a journal. And if I have time, I will show you how to do that, where you can point your authors in the right direction. And then from there is the second part where the author goes back and forth with the peer reviewers, with the journal editors to kind of make a decision. There's often a lot of, not a lot, but changes that are made to the work. But ultimately, when the decision comes from the publisher, from the editor, that yes, we will publish your article, that will come through as a necessity for an APC, article processing charge, transaction. Okay, and that's the space we're living in. If you notice my mouse right here, this is what we're talking about when we're talking about RightsLink. Okay, without having that paid, that article never goes into production and technically really doesn't get published because we can't advance it unless that's been essentially approved by you. Okay, so this is RightsLink, and I'm going to show you this in a minute, but I'm going to go over my slides first, and then I'm going to move over to our demo area. This is RightsLink. This is where you as a librarian or an administrator review and authorize the APC funding requests. We highly recommend a touch-free workflow for the most part. Many, if not I'd say 90% of our institutions have a full transformative agreement, which essentially means we publish anything that is eligible from your institution. Now, there are some institutions, particularly in Asia, where your transformative agreement is limited, meaning that you only publish, for instance, 5 works a year. And that's the agreement that you've made with Cambridge, which is fine. It's no problem. And that's where auto approve should not be ticked. I'm going to show you that in just a moment. So right now, for the most part, I'm going to be talking about the touch-free, which means that your workflow is so much easier because it's essentially automated. But essentially, if you don't want it to be touch-free, meaning if you want to physically, manually click, yes, I approve this or I deny this for every transaction that's coming through, that's fine. That's entirely up to you. You have the right to do that. And we're not going to tell you how to do your own work. Far be it from me. I have other things to do. But for the most part, and what I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to show you is where to click auto approve, which will hopefully make your life a little bit easier. So again, this is kind of a bit of a repeat. Touch-free means it's automatic approval. You are more than welcome to view and manage your APC funding requests, but it is not necessary. One other thing I want to mention is that I think sometimes librarians get a little nervous. Oh, I have to make sure that they're with us, that our this author actually attends our institution, or that they are a journal that we are a part of as part of our transformative agreement that we have basically gotten our access to. So what Cambridge does, Cambridge works very hard to work on your behalf to verify that this person is from your institution. We highly recommend to authors and to encourage librarians to tell authors that when they have a RightsLink profile or whatever their email address is that is attached to this particular work, it should be your institutional email address. I have many institutions across the world that say we do not fund requests unless it has our institutional email address attached, which is very, very necessary. So that's helping us, help you. We recommend that. Again, it's not necessary, but that is something we do recommend. Okay, so I'm about to go over the majority of these steps with you, but I want to clarify where we're going. So first, and this is what you can do right now as I'm speaking, I would like you to go to your institutional email if you are the primary manager of your organization. I'd like you to locate the email from RightsLink that you have been sent that gives you your login information. It should be pretty clear. I have done this myself, and which has enabled me to have a demo platform. It should be very clear. My guess is it gives you a password that you can, of course, change, or maybe the platform will encourage you to change it when you log on, which is quite typical these days. Yes. And then from there, I do have this box that says ensure all contacts are added. I don't know that that's necessarily as easy as it once was. I'm not going to show you how to do that today, but we do encourage it to kind of, again, make your life easier. Then from there, we're going to talk about where and how to turn on auto approvals, as well as getting notifications. And also, if you would like to get reports, I'm going to show you that. I'm telling you, this system, to its credit, is not difficult, at least in our experience. I really appreciate how clean and clear it is. And then from there, of course, we just recommend that you bookmark the page, which I personally have done. So you don't have to wonder where it went or go back to the original email and get that link. Okay, so I'm going to do this, and I'm going to actually exit out of my screen here. And this should be the screen that you see when you click the link in your email. Okay, so you should enter your email address and then your password. This is the password I have been given. I'm going to command paste, and I'm going to sign in, which hopefully you're able to do with me right now. And it's waiting and it's thinking. And this is essentially what you should see when you log in. I don't know if your first screen is going to be funding requests or billing profiles, but my guess is the funding requests screen is the first thing that comes up. Yeah, so according to this, All of these requests have come through my institution from, not gonna lie, all of these are fake. These are my demo portal, but all of these have come through. I want to point out to you that, we've got pretty clear explanation for approve, which is right here, or deny. This gives you exactly why. This is where you would take care of new requests right here to say whether or not you approve or deny if you choose to do it manually. Now, from here, these are all grayed out. There's nothing I can do because the status of each of these essentially works that are about to be published in journals have been approved. Somebody has done this, and I know that it is my colleague. And in your case, hopefully there is also a colleague. If this is what you see, or if you've put on the auto approve, that's what's going to happen. Just to point out to you as well, there's a lot of information here, which hopefully isn't especially difficult. Total fees due. Now, in this case, because you are functioning under open access transformative agreement deal, nothing is due because you have already paid this charge, right? You've already paid Cambridge as part of your TA. That's technically free. But if you did want to see how much the publication of that article would cost, just go to this little drop-down menu. The APC token is what we're calling essentially how we take care of that behind the scenes. And this actually cost over £2,000. But that was taken care of by your deal. So you can, I'm sure in the reports, you can find out like probably how much could we have spent would the author have needed to spend in order to get this published over in the reports section. You can of course get more information about the article or about what was being published. Of course, it's more than just articles sometimes it's a book review, whatever. You've got a lot of options when it comes to journals, but that gives you some more information. This came through. It was accepted in 2022, so clearly this came through in 2022. The journal, it was the Political Science and Politics Journal, and that is a hybrid OA journal, which means it publishes at the time. It published some open access and other things that are not open access, which is up to the journal and not basically anybody else. So that's how it works. The other thing I want to point out here, this is the profile name of the person that submitted it, I believe. No, I'm so sorry, of your actual billing profile. Okay, so all of these have come through. I'm actually going to test this. I'm going to click on the billing profile, and that's going to kick me. Actually, I don't know why it opens a new window, but that's what it chooses to do. That brings us to the billing profile tab on the left, which, if we were on the same page, is right here on the billing profiles. Okay, so all of this information is about the profile that is attached to your institution. It's very possible that you only have one billing profile if you are not an especially huge institution. But if you are, and you have many librarians managing this at the same time, it's possible to have multiple profiles, which is fine. Now, all of your organization details should have already been loaded and entered, which is what has given you access today. That should be available. It should be easy for you. But from there, you are also able to add contacts. Note this little button right here. So if you want more help, if you don't want to be the only one at your institution doing this, you can add more librarians or administrators into this. From my understanding, I actually think you can delete, like, let's say somebody has retired or they have moved on to a different job. I don't know, whatever, and you don't want them in your billing profile any longer. I think it's possible to either make those changes yourself. If it is not possible, you're also more than welcome to contact RightsLink and they can help you out. But from my understanding, it is possible where you can manage those details. Yeah, these are all kind of your identifiers. Again, this is not changeable by you. Yeah, and a lot of this is kind of what's available. I want to point out to you too that this is where you've got the token and threshold availability. Again, this might be a little bit more critical for those institutions perhaps that have limited tokens, perhaps the 5 or the 2 even that I was mentioning earlier. But for the most part, excuse me, for the most part, it's probably going to list that you have 100 tokens. And if your institution is publishing 100 articles, that's incredible. That is excellent. I'm so glad to hear that. And if you need more, if you are fully open and it's a full transformative agreement and your institution is just incredibly prolific, of course we can get you more tokens. That's not a problem at all. But yes, for the most part, I think it just lists 100 and then it kind of winds the number down. Look, according to this, we have used one APC token, it looks like for this year. Yeah, and we've got touch-free transactions. That is taken care of, that's listed, and I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute. And some institutions, and I'm not going to go deep into this, but some institutions require a particular CC license. I don't want to get into the weeds here. There are so many different kinds. Ultimately, normally is up to the author to choose how they want their work protected in terms of licensing, in terms of the rights that they're granting to others, to the world to either read or use or reference their work. But some institutions are very particular with the kind of license that is granted by the author. They require your authors to have a particular kind. I'm not going to get into that, but that is up to you. And this is a good place for you to note any of those details. You can change things here. I've just hit the kind of editing element. If you want touch-free transactions, I mean, not going to lie, every single billing profile, it comes through as this, and if we don't want that, we need to contact them directly. I'm going to hit cancel because there's nothing I need to add, but this is a note. If you want to put through a note to your authors, this is where you would do it. That comes through from the publisher, and then this is from your institution, so this is where you could type something. Thank you so much for working with us. I mean, I don't know. You can put whatever you like. Maybe that's not the right place for that, and maybe you want to give another piece of information. That's entirely up to you. Maybe you want to give contact information for, please contact your librarian about this. Okay. I'm not going to put in any other information here. I would like to move on. Will not be saved. I'm going to move on from that. So now we are on the billing profiles page. I've kind of showed you the details of what a profile is, but here on the billing profiles page, under this, all of these things are part of us. Now, if you are a consortium, this is where you would have the billing profiles per institution. I just worked with a consortium in Africa and another one in Turkey recently, where every single institution had, actually it was a group kind of billing profiles that were attached in. Every profile can only actually have 50 at a time, which hopefully isn't a problem that you should have to encounter. Now, this is where we come to the touch-free or automatic approvals element. For this particular institution, which I believe is what we were just looking at, AE test, it's not touch-free. Great, all of these are, oh, look, this one's touch-free. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go right over here and under automatic approvals, I'm gonna tick the tick box right here. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. If an author request comes in, there it is. The other thing with this is that you really need to, if you would like to know what's going on in your profile, this is a great place. I'm going to click notifications. You can create a notification for yourself, meaning that you would, I believe, get an email that says that something has come through. Okay. It's just like getting and some elements, some information. So I'm going to go back and do this one more time. If you want to create touch-free, if you want there to be auto approvals, all you need to do is to tick a box. Look, this is a different one. There is no CC requirement according to this billing profile. Again, I did not set this up, but if that's what you'd set up, you're going to go here. It says, I mean, they've created this as touch-free, so sure, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go right over here. I'm going to tick that box. It says, are you sure? Yep, I'm sure. And there it is. Now, again, just to repeat, if you want a notification about something that has come through from an author to the institution, i.e., a funding request has come through because this has been, auto approved, so it's going to go through automatically now, right? You're more than welcome to tick the notifications. You can create a notification for yourself, select the contact. It's a triggering an email to the contact within your department, within your group, within your billing profiles that you've added. Andy Edwards, I don't know who Andy Edwards is, but if Andy Edwards said, yes, I want a notification that something has come through our institutional portal, our RightsLink, I want to know when, well, look, this is giving you elements, etc. You are more than welcome to get notifications for yourself about what the status is, if something has happened. Amount approved for invoicing is the really simple one. Essentially, that is the one that says, okay, there's been an auto approve that has gone through and you can trigger an email and that's fine. If you're interested in threshold, obviously you're going to have to add a numeric value for that to say, oh, I want to know that we've spent £5,000 or whatever that is for you. Okay. I'm not going to cover any more of that, but if that's what I wanted, I would click save. Okay. Right. I'm going to go back to billing profiles. All of our notifications are here. And then from here, these are author fees. There's nothing to display because authors aren't being charged because that's taken care of. And the last thing to note is right here on reports. If you would like to get a report for elements that have come through, this is where you do it. I believe you are also receiving reports as it is on a semi-regular basis. Ooh, yes. Which is, very much part of our behind the scenes. I work with those people very regularly here at Cambridge, but I believe that you are getting those periodically. But if you want one instantly, go right ahead. Pull one for yourself. It's free, it's easy, it's not that hard. If you want to know what's gone through, if you want to know about the article list, if you want to very specifically look up something, perhaps the author's name and you want to know what they've published. Maybe they've published more than one thing with you and you want to know and you can run the report. You've got a time limiter. Again, I'm not gonna tell you what you want because I don't know what that is. And a lot of this I think is, discoverable by you. A half of this is just you sorting out what you want to know, but this is the location to do it. Okay. So I think from there, that is what I need to say, except for the fact, so for instance, if you want to log out, it would be up here, of course. If you want to change the password, you can do it here. And the final thing I want to point out to you, if you have questions, I really highly recommend this Institution Resource Center first. I'm going to send you a link to that as well. I'm going to send you a copy of the slides I'm using today, which are hopefully a good resource for you as well. And I'm going to send you this link. But this Institution Resource Center is so good. I have gone, whoops, that's not what I wanted. Right here is what it looks like when you click this button right here. Okay. And this is what that looks like. You've got all of this available to you. This is for you. This is what this looks like. This is a PDF. This is a video. I've watched it. It's very clear. This video is not specific to transformative agreements. It does talk about charges, which of course wouldn't have anything to do with you. But it still gives you a lot of information, further information. It just gets a little specific if you want more information on that. This also helps you to add a billing profile right here. But I really, really highly recommend all of this content. It's really good. Yeah. And then this is other materials for researchers if you're trying to promote elements to them as well, profiles, reporting, release, etc. Okay. Okay, so I think I've covered about the basics of what happens on RightsLink. I hope that it has been useful for you. I'm going to move back to my slide presentation now. From current slide. And this is going to be some of these screenshots are hopefully a bit of a repeat of what we've already done. Okay. So adding the contacts from your colleagues, from the people that you're working with, the people that are actually going to be dealing with this. this is the time and the place to do it. So we would highly recommend doing that first. And maybe that's what you want to do while you're listening to me for the next 2 minutes. That is entirely up to you. um, Now, I want to point out to you that if this auto approve had not been turned on, this is what this would look like. This is what, so you saw on my screen that all of those elements had been grayed out because there was no choice to be made. It had been approved and it was good to go. Great. Awesome. But from this case, these articles are pending. So it means that somebody needs to make a decision. There needs to be essentially an acceptance from the librarian or administrator to whether to approve or deny, which is why we highly recommend just doing auto approvals so you don't even need to worry about it. Because ultimately, once it's been accepted by Cambridge, there have been so many checks and balances on this piece of work. I mean, of course, you're welcome to be the final countdown, the final threshold. That's up to you. But once it's come to that point, it means it's really ready to move forward. And what we count as a part of the integrity that I was talking about before, that's been checked. And yeah, we feel we are ready to stand behind it. Okay, so that's where that would exist if you wanted to manual approve things. Now, if you are manually approving, and you choose to deny something, it will require you to give a reason why. This is just part of the system. This is not Cambridge. This is how RightsLink functions. So we've got all of these elements that are possible, and you have to give a reason. So for instance, it says CC buyer license right here as an example. I would say that that buy license requirement might be something that that particular institution wanted. And perhaps this author had not selected the right buy license element, and that's why they're pushing it back. Maybe it's missing, I don't know. But yeah, hopefully that's not something you encounter at all, but just in case, I wanted to make everyone aware. Okay. Right, so we've covered essentially the basics of what it takes to do, or essentially not to do if you turn on auto approvals of RightsLink and what that looks like. From now, I want to talk to you a little bit about how important it is to promote this agreement at your institution. Because if authors don't know, they can't take advantage of this. There are a lot of things that Cambridge tries to put through. And of course, we can attempt to talk to authors as much as possible. But really, this is on you to get this word out, which I recognize is not always easy because who listens to us? But if you know your audience and you're regularly speaking with them, talk about it. Talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. Okay, these are just kind of some ways in which that we were trying to come up with to help you promote this for yourself. So market this, promote it on channels you already have. Maybe you have, I don't know, social media on campus that is particularly used. Maybe you want to announce it on your kind of wide-ranging social media. That's an exciting and great thing. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Point authors to what they want to see and where they're looking. So if you're regularly communicating with authors via email, and then maybe send out an email. But if you find that more of your authors are coming in to speak with you in person, which might be a rarity these days, I don't know, so lucky you if they are, then talk about it, drop it in a conversation. There's nothing wrong with that. And then, of course, with whatever, especially electronic communication you're doing, I would highly recommend that you link your agreement to every part of communication that you're doing. Also, this is something I've found at a number of institutions that I think are the most successful with their publishing. And trust me when I say we want to publish your work. We really, 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 really do. We are so keen to get new voices, to get voices from institutions in, because this really ups the value of what you've agreed with us under your transformative agreement. So always include the link to your content. We recommend if you don't have author support pages on your own library site that you create those, maybe in a help section or a training section outside of the catalog or attached to the catalog of content that you're already linking through to as well. But yeah, we highly recommend that you link your agreement to author areas, which you can really easily find from that eligibility checker that I showed you earlier. This is a librarian toolkit that we've made. It's just for you. This is a QR code. Again, like I said, I'm going to send this link to you as well. But these materials are there for you to use. Download, use, display them anywhere you like. Get creative. The sky's your limit. Now, this is Cambridge Core, and I will take a moment or two. I'm going to log out, move out of this again. This is Cambridge Core, and I'm right here on our Cambridge Core homepage. Again, this is the location where all of our content lives. This is what you've agreed. This is where you have access to. You would go to your login. I'm going to log in with my personal account right now. You should be doing this as an institution. There's a difference between a institutional account rather than an individual account. You're going to see my individual account here. This is all our content. Point authors toward our browsing locations. Browse. You've got drop-down menu of all our subjects here. If they're looking for journals, this is all of our journals. But if they're looking expressly for open access or hybrid journals, these are where they live. So I'm going to click this. I'm going to click Open Access Journals, and there they begin. I also really regularly, and I'm going to talk about this in a moment, but I really regularly give trainings to authors. If authors are confused about where to submit, I'm going to click on literally the top journal on the page. Oops, my apologies. You are seeing my back end view of this, but you won't see any of this blue. But right here, if authors ever want to submit to a particular journal, there's always a button under the top. It says submit manuscript right here. Cannot miss that. That brings them to the OPRS, the online peer review system, and that is where they submit their content. I'm going to get out of that, so we're stop looking at my back-end content here, which thankfully I don't have to manage that page at all. This is all of our journals. I'm going to go up here to my account, and this is going to be only an individual account view. But when you're logged in as an institution, you're going to actually have two subsets. One's going to say my account. It will live about down here. And then another is going to say my organization, and you're going to have all of these elements listed. That's where your MARC records are. That's where your KBART records are. There's an abundance of statistical information that you are more than welcome to access as you please. But of course, then you'll also have a My Account. This is a place to show authors where they can bookmark things. This is where their bookmarks have existed. I don't know if I bookmarked anything. It doesn't look like it. Where their alerts are linked, my content, my searches, my order history, etc. The societies I've attached to. Speaking of societies, I did also say that we publish in partnership with other institutions. I'm going to go here. I'm going to click just the drop-down menu of Browse. And this is our partners right here. You can look at them all. Maybe you have a particular connection. I was speaking with a university, actually a consortium recently that had a lovely connection to Wits University Press, and they were very interested. So they published both with regularly with Wits and with UNISA, which I was more than happy to support. Yay. And you can get more information about that. I just clicked on UNISA. That's what they're publishing for that particular press. So that is available there. And again, feel free to point your authors to this, and this. All of these places are a great place to discover content. You can tick, untick, I don't want to see articles, I do, etc. You can look up a keyword, neuroscience. It's a little broad. Yeah, but then you get maybe some drop-down suggestions, or you can go here to browse. Yeah, I'm not going to say a lot more about that. I will say if you want some more information or your authors are having a question, the services tab is great. The training page is our own, my team's particular page. We manage that ourselves for the most part. Open research, if you want more information, this open access policies hub is really, really good. It gives you some information. And if you're ever stuck and you don't know what's going on Cambridge Core, go to Core Help. It is So useful. I was surprised myself. I ask this portal all the time. If you're ever stuck, this is the place to go to start. And then if this can't help you, then we can get you connected to a human. Yes, a human, not an AI here at Cambridge, and we can support you from there. Yes. The only other thing, I'm going to go back here to services and I'm going to go to our training page. Now, this is really possible where you found your link. This is literally what we're doing right this very moment, for you to kind of find what's going on. And this is particularly for librarians. But at this top part, we've got author workshops as well, which we highly recommend. These are are currently going to be happening. This is geared toward the Asia, ANZ, and India regions. This is for your location. We've got 3 going. Also, if your institution is large enough, of course, we would be really excited to support you if you wanted to set up particular author training with us. Yep, which I'm more than happy to talk about with you. Feel free to send through an email and we can have that conversation. But if that is not feasible, I do want to point out to you, we have a really fantastic YouTube page. This is us. I'm going to click that for us and we're going to do view your channel. This is our channel. And this is where we kind of offer all of our content. I'm going to click our playlist because I think they're pretty great. Yeah, so I've done a set of author workshops right here. I've just done these in the fall. They're all brand new. That's me talking about who knows what. Yeah, I'm also going to send you a link if you have more questions. We have made a full playlist for you on RightsLink. We even have some of this, I believe, in Indonesian, because there were many questions in Indonesian. So this is auto-translated for you here, which hopefully is a useful thing. But these playlists hopefully are useful for you. And if you also have questions about core, I've also made a core playlist this is all me just chatting in the background about how to set things up for you as librarians, journal pages, etc. Yeah, I'm going to navigate back, but hopefully that is a useful thing for you. Again, free and available, can't go wrong. It's right there, can't miss it. You can even Google Cambridge Core Training, or you can Google YouTube. It's very easy. We're listed under academic training. That is my team, and we manage this ourselves. I'm going to go back to our slide. This is what I was talking about when I was mentioning all the elements that are part of your Cambridge Core account. Again, not going to get into that. This is your librarian account. Again, list of holdings, etc., mark records, yada, yada, yada. But there's so much to be seen here. This is just clarifying for you. And this is the location, like I said, this is listed under every journal page. It's the same location. It's possible the language might be marginally different, but submission, this is where you do it under every journal page without fail. That is a rule at Cambridge. There is no special contingency. Just wanted to point out to you that this is what authors see once that has come through. They have a request to either seek funding from their institution or to pay the APC. And if they want to pay for it, fine, no problem. But if they want to use their transformative agreement with you, they need to seek funding from you. And that is very, very necessary. Otherwise, that is up to them to pay for it. This is how we support your agreement. We do give you quarterly publishing updates, and this is what I was talking about. If you want more information, again, feel free to pull more reports off of that core location, I'm sorry, RightsLink location, which is very, very, hopefully not difficult for you to do, but we do send you quarterly reports, which is on us and we're happy to do, publishing activity, collated information, etc. There is a thing called a retroactive OA, and I'm just going to drop this in here. Cambridge, and we are doing this. This is not on you. Cambridge is reaching out to authors to say, hey, we see that you've recently published with us, but would you actually like to do this instead through your transformative agreement by publishing open access? And the response rate is quite good. A lot of authors are like, oh yeah, that sounds great. But that has nothing to do with you. We're just letting you know that we are working on that in case I don't know, an author runs to you and is like, oh my gosh, I published too early. No, it's okay. We're there for them. We want to make sure it's going to be all right. The thing that Cambridge does, I think, especially well is our communication with our authors, and we've been told that really regularly. These are all really good things that we do. If you want to communicate with us, I'm going to give you two email addresses that you can use. You can use the OA queries at cambridge.org or AcademicTraining at cambridge.org. AcademicTraining is my team specifically, but we do work quite a lot with the OA queries. Yeah, we regularly go back and forth together, which is great. Yeah, and these are all the other things that are available to authors on our core website. Along one of the core services is there's an author hub there, which is great. Tons of resources. I'm not going to get into more detail about that, but feel free to share that with your authors. And this is a link to our training series that I just pointed out to you on the training page on core. These are, excuse me, run periodically. I will likely do another set of these come next fall, although our model might be changing, but we'll see. But from here, this is available free for your authors to come and learn more about what it takes to do behind the scenes in journals. Of course, you're welcome to come as librarians and administrators, but there is certainly no expectation that you need to be there unless you want to learn more about what life is like for your authors and researchers. These are some resources I've crafted for you. We've got a RightsLink playlist, a core playlist, which I just pointed out, along with just a further link to that institution resource center that I already pointed out to you. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is we do have available author services. This is completely separate from our journals, from your transformative agreement, but it is something that a lot of authors, especially if English is not their first language, find really, really helpful. Authors usually are the ones to pay for this themselves to kind of get essentially copy editing or potentially translation happening. If this is a challenge for them, if their writing isn't particularly good, or if their communication is challenging. We are currently looking at and are open to having conversations with institutions about having them purchase kind of a bundle of these, so maybe 5 or 10 services that you could hand out, similar to what you would do maybe with the tokens if you had a limited number of tokens for your APC, handing out a service of editing to a particular author, whether or not it's to get their work published or, I don't know, for whatever reason, in order to kind of move them forward in their career. And we have had an uptick of this recently, which we are so happy to talk about. If you have questions on this, feel free to be in touch with me or your salesperson, and they can give you more information because we're more than happy to give that to you. Here's a link to that page if you want to look at it. I'm going to move on really quickly from this. But this is what it covers: language editing, academic translation, publication support. Sometimes people aren't the best with kind of communicating back and forth with our publishers. And we want to make that really, really clear because this, again, of course, needs to be a professional communication. And then something else is supporting them in kind of promoting their own work, which is the research communication. Like perhaps it's creating posts for them on Instagram, or help supporting them in crafting a YouTube video that kind of clarifies their work more for the common person rather than the PhD that they are, who are, you know, very, very erudite in their complete subject area. You know, someone would certainly have to do that for me, perhaps in the world of physics. Physics is not my subject area at all. But I always find it really, really interesting when somebody breaks it down for me. So if I were to know about somebody's new research, that would certainly be necessary for me. So today we've gone over open access and transformative agreements. We've talked about how to manage that on RightsLink, and we've also talked about how to support and promote your transformative agreement, along with a little bit of a demo on core, which hopefully has been a useful thing for you. So I'm more than happy to take questions and answers right now. If you want to pop a question into the chat or into the Q&A, I will easily and happily answer those for you. This is our feedback form. If this was useful for you today, we'd really appreciate hearing from you, learning more about, you know, what would be useful for you, what would be useful for your authors, how did it go? Yeah, what is going to help us help you, essentially. So if anyone has any questions, I believe I've answered the two that are in the chat already. Yeah. Which is hopefully useful. Somebody asked to take notes for institution to author, which I think I've pointed out already, and it's automated. But yeah, I can give a moment or two if anyone is furiously typing in the Q&A or in the chat. I'll go look over there. I don't see any open questions. While I'm waiting, I'm going to move this into the next slide. And these are our two email addresses to contact us, my team in particular. We've got OA queries and we've got academic training. And again, this is a link to our feedback form. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat now. Well, I want to thank you all so much for being here with me. And I hope this is a useful and informative time for you. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to be in touch. And best of luck with your transformative agreement. We're so excited to have partnered with you and only hope that this is just a wonderful move in the future to getting the right things published and getting the right things in the right hands to the right people so we can make the world a better place. Thank you so much for being here.